Unforgettables. Nice. This show is sponsored by Unforgettables. Unforgettables creates detailed hand-painted baseballs for every baseball fan. Check them out at unforgettables.com.
Looking for a life insurance company that specializes in what you actually need? Protection. Call Danny today with Symmetry Financial. Danny is certified in all 50 states, which means Symmetry Financial is not limited and has over 30 companies to choose from. Symmetry Financial has proved time and time again that their options and pricing is just better than the rest. Give Danny a call today at 828-994-1681 to see how Symmetry Financial can make life simple. This is CRN, the Community Radio Network, the voice of the community, the voice of anything sports, and proud to be the voice of the Comets. Follow us at crnsports.org. Now let's get back to the broadcast coverage on CRN.
Again, welcome to the CRN Sports Podcast, Baseball Talk with Trey Snide. Of course, I am Trey Snide. I am sitting with the head baseball coach over there at Clayton High School, Brandon Lusk. Coach, how are you, my friend?
Doing well, Trey. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Let's kind of, we started this CRN podcast to really, because we wanted a way to be able to get away from all this crazy thing that we're going on here in our country, really. But of course, in North Carolina, where today they actually announced a lockdown of North Carolina. How is, we're not going to get into much. We're probably going to spend about 1 or 2 minutes on this, Coach. But how has this affected you as a coach, but also as a varsity coach over there at Clayton High School?
Well, what's been the hardest part, Trey, is honestly, everybody thinks baseball first. Well, I do miss the competition. Don't get me wrong, I miss that a lot. But I miss seeing our guys. I miss seeing our coaches on a regular basis. We stay in normal, regular contact with our staff. We're still talking and, planning for the future if we can get back and if there's a chance we play this year or start working toward the summer program or even into the fall. But seeing those 33 guys in our program that we're used to seeing Monday through Friday and not get to see them for the last couple of weeks has been difficult. Reached out a little bit through text, just saying, hey, how are you? Hope everybody's doing well, staying safe, being smart and, trying to get them, make sure I stay on top of your school stuff, even though we're doing supplemental learning right now, but you still need to stay sharp. And it's a tough time. It's not just for us. It's nationwide. It's something unprecedented, and it's just a really, really serious situation. It's very sad at the same time, and just hope our country can get through this. Baseball will still be there. We just need everybody to get through this as safe as possible.
Oh, absolutely. And what I love about Clayton High School, again, myself and the founder as well as the co-founder in Wesley Outland. You're very familiar with Wesley. He's called all 3 of your baseball games this year. But what I love about Clayton is, and since we went to this school, we have a little bit more inside sources when it comes to Clayton High School. What we love about Clayton is you've taken this and done as well as you possibly could with the online with Coach Bennett, who was my track coach back in high school in Clayton High School. He's done phenomenal things over there at the high school level. What you guys have done is really built a culture there. And we talked a little bit before we started doing the show about building a culture, a location, and that's exactly what you guys have done since I was back in 06 when I graduated. That's what Clayton High School has done, build a culture, and no matter what situation is handed to Clayton, you always seem to come out on top, and I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, a lot of that credit goes to Dr. Jones and the staff, the administrative staff, the teachers, and everybody we have working at Clayton High School. There's no better place to be right now. And with this whole situation, we have some experience with virtual learning. Dr. Jones implemented it last year. We did some of that throughout. And so when it came to this unfortunate situation, our staff was prepared. We knew what we had to do. Is it something we wanted to do and thought we would have to do for a month, 2 months plus? No, No, we never thought it would get to that. But thankfully, we do have that experience. That's something we can lean on. And we've leaned on that experience and each other very hard. We've sat in multiple Zoom meetings. I've already been in one online meeting today. I'll be in another one this afternoon. But it's just what we got to do right now. It's the hand we've been dealt. It's not what any of us want, but we're trying to make the best of it. And thankfully, as you mentioned, Dr. Bennett Jones has really led the way for this for our staff, and really has been a leader in our county with it.
Absolutely. Now let's kind of move away from the situation we have going on with the coronavirus. Again, Brandon Lusk, the head varsity baseball coach over there at Clayton High School, joins me right here on Baseball Talk with Trey Snide. You can follow everything that we do on crnsports.org. Now, Coach, let's kind of dive deep into building that culture here at Clayton High School. Started 0-3 on the season, but like you mentioned off air, was you have an extremely young program. Of course, you have some seniors as well. Let's just kind of talk a little bit more about this team in general.
It's a very young team. We came into the season with just a few returning players from last year with some good amounts of playing time. We were at one time starting in the 3 games. We started 5 sophomores a couple times. And so that's very young. We only have 3 seniors in the program. And so we lean on those seniors for their experience, for their leadership. But it's tough when they're outnumbered as much as they are, but they did a fantastic job. And I really hate the situation we're in for those guys, because they put in not just the work this year, but they've been putting in the work since their freshman year and even before. But, we started off 0-3, but I'll tell you what, we played 2 pretty good teams. We played Garner twice and lost both those games by 1 run. We had a lead in every single game we played. And sometimes we just would have 1 inning that we'd make a mistake or 2, and it would seem to snowball into runs for our opponents. Hats off to them. They did what they're supposed to do. We didn't. We made some mistakes. It happens, but that's part of the learning process. And we knew that going into it. And then unfortunately, we got shut down right before we started hitting the stretch. I thought we had some games. I thought we were really starting to play better. We started practicing better. I think it opened our eyes for a lot of our young kids. And we started really focusing more. And our coaches, I'll tell you, our staff has been phenomenal with these guys. And I was really excited what we were going to see. But, it wasn't to be. So whenever that time comes, we're going to be ready.
There you go. Now, let's kind of give credit where credit's due, Coach. You guys were playing up in your competition against the 4A, 2 against Garner, obviously, and then 1 against Apex. Clayton High School is a 3A program. Now, back when I graduated Clayton High School in 2006, they actually moved into the 4A. And so it's good to see them kind of still competing against these 4A opponents. And Garner, for some reason, the football program beat Garner this couple years ago for the first time in 100 years or something like that. But it's so good to see that you guys are still competing against these bigger schools. And I don't really look at the 4A, 3A, 2A, because if you're a good program, you should go up against these bigger schools and the teams that are supposed to beat you, but you still play up to your level and be able to have a chance to win. And kind of go back to my coaching history. We mentioned off the air, so there was a game that I had, really the second game of the season, and we had a chance to play 4 games this year. There was the second game of the season. We were going up against a nationally ranked program. We got up 2-0 in the first inning. I said, okay, we're finally hitting our stride. And all of a sudden, in the bottom of the first, we went out and gave up 6 runs. And I pulled the entire field into the pitcher's mound. I said, guys, what are you doing? Are you ready to go home? I mean, you're playing guys that you should be able to play up against and be able to beat. Your pitcher is playing lights out, and you're doing absolutely nothing to help him. I said, you ready to go home? Because I'm not. And sure enough, that's all I said. I walked back to the dugout, and that inning he struck out 3 in a row. But then all of a sudden, we put up 9 runs in the second inning. I mean, so it's one of those situations where building that culture and playing up against the teams that you're not supposed to beat, but you have a chance to beat, it makes the world a difference.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you mentioned your pitcher going out there and throwing a shutdown inning. We were very fortunate to have that too. We started a senior. We only played 3 games, but in 2 of the 3, we started a senior, one that has the most experience on the mound for us. And we were able to lean on him and Josh Erpenbeck, a fantastic young man. Is going to get a chance to play at the collegiate level at Rose Holman Polytechnic Institute. And he's a fantastic student athlete. But he's a great competitor. He is fierce. We went into Garner, and that kid was on the mound, and he held us in that game when we started and ended up playing 5 sophomores in that game. We didn't start 5, but we played 5 sophomores in that game. But to be able to have that senior leadership right there in the middle of the field, to understand what was going on and just showing how to compete as a senior. And Josh did a fantastic job of that. And one of the best games I've seen him pitch in his 4 years at Clayton High School. Unfortunately for him, we didn't get the win that night. But it does not take away what Josh did for us on the mound. And in our other game, our next game against Garner, we threw a sophomore, and Tristan Roney. Tristan goes out there and really just follows suit of what Josh had done the previous game against the same opponent, and competed till the very end, till his pitch count got up a little bit for early in the year, and we pulled him out. The kid was fantastic. So we were really excited to see what Tristan was going to do in his next start, but we didn't get to that. But what I was really excited about, where our kids were. Up and down the lineup, we had guys swinging the bat well. We were playing pretty well defensively, just making a few mistakes here and there. And we were really excited to see what kind of growth we would have within our team.
Now let's kind of let's talk about a bit about your assistant coaches as well. Let's kind of give credit where credit is due. Again, you mentioned before it's a sad day not be able to see those guys as well. Let's kind of give them a shout out when we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Brody Sanders has been with me since I took over the program a few years ago. He is our head JV coach. Brody actually is a Clayton graduate. I had the privilege of coaching Brody when he was a player. He graduated in 2012. So he's been there, and he does a great job with our young guys. This year we brought in 2 new assistant coaches. We were very blessed to have. One is Josh Steichleather. Coach Steichleather comes to us. He pitched at North Carolina A&T University. And he's also a graduate of South Johnston, where I coached him when he was a senior on a team that played in the 3A Eastern Regional in 2014. And this is something big, was Coach Steichleather coming in, to handle our pitchers. And that's something I've done most of my career. And, being able to hand that to him and trusting him to do that, he did a fantastic job. Along with him, we brought in Coach Lane Olive, who came to us from Barton College, where he played. And we actually, Coach Olive, student taught at Clayton, and actually applied and got a job and wanted to come out and help with the baseball program. He works for our hitters and our catchers. And I'll tell you what, having these 2 new coaches, some new blood in the program, has really set those young guys afire. They really lit a fire in those guys. And it was really exciting to see where our program was going. And we also have a volunteer coach Coach Walt Warner, who I coached when I was at Southeast Raleigh, came to us. He lives in the area. He is a volunteer in the county and comes whenever he can. He's also a firefighter, so he does not just a lot for Clayton High School, but he does a lot for the city of Raleigh and in Archer's Lodge, where he serves as a firefighter. And he works with our outfielders every day he's there. And so we're really blessed to have that kind of staff. It's something every coach dreams would have a staff like that. We're fortunate at Clayton High School to have that right now.
Absolutely. And one, thank you for his service for the fire department, because it's greatly needed right now for sure. And that's the best feeling in the world for a head coach, no matter what, is to be able to pass off some things that obviously you've worked on your entire career. To be able to pass out and have the kids trust these guys is pretty phenomenal. And,